No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mindell. The Illegal Curve post-game show starts now.
Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. For all those joining us live this evening on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Along with Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mindell, here to discuss the Winnipeg Jets narrowly averting disaster and sneaking away with a 3-2 victory over the Chicago Blackhawks. The Jets do get the win, like I said, in the overtime period. And I am confident in saying, Mr. Ginsburg, that despite the fact that the Chicago Blackhawks are at the bottom of the NHL standings and should be and have been a cakewalk for many teams this season, the Winnipeg Jets will be glad to be done with facing Peter Mrazek and the Chicago Blackhawks for the remainder of this year. Good evening to you, my good friend. How are you tonight on this fine and dandy Friday night?
Doing pretty well, I think. I would agree with that, by the way. The Jets just love playing one-goal games with the Blackhawks, right? Like, it's bizarre, right? Because we've definitely seen, the Jets take care of, really good teams. And as you mentioned, I mean, there is no worse team in the league than the Blackhawks. But I'll say this much. Yeah. Having watched, the fourth time the Jets and Blackhawks have played?
Yes.
The Blackhawks, you got to give them respect just for the fact that they are a competitive team and they actually have some cohesion, if that's a word I can use. Like, they don't look as disjointed. Like, earlier in the season, they were pretty tough to watch. Like, they couldn't string two passes together.
Right.
And, give them credit. They battled hard. Yep. Luke Richardson pulls Peter Mrazek with less than 2 minutes left, and they battle back. They tie the game up. I mean, it's unfortunate that the winning goal goes off of, Nick Foligno's leg or skate. Yeah. But I mean, the Jets are a better team than the Hawks. It shouldn't have got to overtime. And obviously we're going to get into the goals and everything like that. But I mean, what would the Jets have done in this game without the brilliance of Nikolai Ehlers? Like, it was the Nick Ehlers, one man show today. Like, it's not like these goals that he scored were, beautiful setups or other players contributed. Like, both of Ehlers' goals were individual efforts, especially the second goal where he goes coast to coast. I'm not going to, ruin the Betway game recap here, but, if you really look at that third period and parts of the first period, the second period, I think you'd agree, Drew, was the best. But there were some stretches of this game that, you didn't like if you were a Jets fan. And, I thought they were a little bit too passive. They were kind of just clinging on to the 1-goal lead, and they were just kind of, I don't know, sloppy. Obviously the Stanley penalty we can get into. I didn't think that was a penalty, but I mean, like, Bedard trips over, Stanley blocks the shot, and then Bedard trips over him. But anyways, luckily the Jets still got the 2 points. But yeah, I think most Jets fans, that was a little bit too close for comfort, if you know what I mean.
I totally do, and I would agree with that assessment. Look, at 5-on-5, with the exception of the first 12 minutes of the it was the first 12 minutes of the second period. That was the Jets' best stretch of the game, most complete and most dominant stretch of the game. The Jets were, even at best with the Blackhawks at 5-on-5. And that's not something the Jets want. I mean, if you look at the Jets forward lines, and you mentioned it, Ezzy, this was the Nikolai Ehlers show tonight. Where would the Jets have been without him? And his line mates, and their new line mates in Alex Iafallo. He's the new one, and Sean Monahan is with Ehlers still. And we'll talk about the lines, and we'll get into the revamped forward lines in great detail on tomorrow morning's Illegal Curve Hockey Show. That's 9 a.m. here on our YouTube channel. So you got a plenty of Illegal Curve coming your way. But if it wasn't for that Jets second line, the Jets would have been in a lot of trouble tonight. The Jets top line, and this is a line that needs to control the game against a team like Chicago.
Yes.
Scheifele, Connor, Velarde, 30% Corsi 4. 30.77. That is not good enough. That is not good enough for a line that has been struggling relatively significantly for the last little while that has been inflated by their successful power play, words that we haven't been able to say very often this year. But at 5-on-5, that line has not been clicking as of late. And tonight, against the Chicago Blackhawks, a weak team. I mean, call it what it is, a team that plays hard, a team that shows a lot of pride, and a team that obviously is building towards something. You have to expect that all four of your lines are going to be, if not dominant, then at least at least even with the Blackhawks. And the Jets' top line wasn't, and Appleton, Lowry, and Niederreiter also weren't. They were even worse at 29.6% Corsi for. I mean, that's just not where you need your players to be. So to your point, Ezzy, about the impact of Iafallo, Monahan, Ehlers, 92.3% Corsi for, which is, I think, probably the highest Corsi for that I can remember seeing this year for one individual Jets line at 5-on-5. They were dominant in this game, and the Jets really, we'll have to look at that line and their performance as one of the key drivers to the success of tonight's game.
Right, and you just mentioned Monahan. He had that chance in front, and then he didn't get a shot off, and that would have given the Jets the 3-1 lead, and then the game's over. Right, so you're right, and I think it tells you that we know that Perfetti isn't the problem here. Like, I know there's a lot of criticism out there for Cole Perfetti, but it's obvious, and we talked about this on last Saturday's show. Clearly, Ehlers is your most talented offensive player. He's a play driver, and they refuse to put Ehlers on that line. Connor and Scheifele is not working, right? Gabe Vilardi's had a great bounce back after the injury, right? Especially on the power play. Like, Gabe Vilardi is arguably your biggest weapon on the power play. And Rick Bowness refuses to put Ehlers, Scheifele, and Vilardi together, even though that line was dominant when they were together, right? So, yeah. I mean, look, Cole Perfetti's not going to stay on the fourth line. And I realize a lot of people are saying, well, is that a sign that, the Jets are going to acquire a winger and Perfetti's going to be on the fourth line? I mean, I have no idea. I mean, that's a big hypothetical, right? We don't know, who the Jets are going to acquire. And is that player going to be a lock for the top six? Like, Pavel Buchnevich seems to be the guy that all Jets fans want right now. Yeah. First off, you're going to have to give up a lot to get Buchnevich, because I think Buchnevich is a player that I think St. Louis probably has some interest in re-signing, right? So you're not going to get.
He's under contract for one more year beyond.
Sorry, you're
season.
Right. Yeah, that's right. You're right. So I mean, could Buchnevich be a player the Jets acquire? Sure, I'm sure there's other teams. You look at Colorado, right, who are battling the Jets for the top two spots, or whatever you want to say, the top spot in the Central. They could be a team that might want to sure. Buchnevich. So, I mean, just getting away from that for a second, though, there is an issue in the Jets' top six, and it's been something we've been talking about for a while now. And not only has Cole Perfetti been struggling, but you have a line that is just not clicking at 5-on-5. Yes, the Jets' power play is starting to play better. We know what are they now? 5 for the last 13 or something like that. 5 for their last 14.
No success tonight. No success tonight on the power play. I mean, I thought that they had some good looks and maybe some good zone time, but
the first power play unit was the first power play. They were out there for 1:50.
Yes, I know.
So, I mean, that's not something I think you like to see, especially when Cole Perfetti's on the fourth line and he's out on the second power play unit. So Perfetti wasn't even really getting any bonus time on the power play on the second unit, right? So it's something that, look, at the end of the day, you can say, well, the Jets keep winning, but there's something about the way they're winning that's just not as dominant as it was when they were on that long streak where they kept allowing less than 3 goals, right? So, I mean, yeah, I think, Ehlers, Monahan, and Iafallo were great. I mean, the eye test matched the numbers.
Yeah.
And I even thought, the fourth line was Nemestikov. Remember, he hit the crossbar. Yeah. I thought Nemestikov had a really strong game. The fourth line, no problem.
That was the only other line, the Jets, the new look fourth line of Barron, Nemesnikov, and Cole Perfetti was the only other Jets line that was over 50% Corsi for.
And again, that's against the Blackhawks, right? Like,
you're not
talking about against the Avalanche or against the Bruins or the Canucks.
Yeah.
I mean, there was one shift early in the first period. I made a note of it here. It was the Tyler Johnson line. Taylor Radish, Anthony. I thought Radish had a good game. I know that,
he's a nice player.
fans don't like the the shot on Hellebuck there. I don't think that was intentional at all. But there was one shift they had a good cycle, and that was against the Scheifele line, right? So that's the Hawks' second line outplaying the Jets' top line, right? And look, I don't think this was the worst game ever or anything like that for Scheifele and Connor. I actually made a few notes here. Kyle Connor had a couple really good back checks that I liked.
Especially at 4-on-4.
Yeah, one was on Colin Blackwell, and then I made a note here. At 4-on-4 was on Beauvillier, Drew. So we both probably made
your note says get more chips. It wasn't actually about the Jets game. It was just buy more.
No, I actually have two notes open. One is my snack note, and then the other one is actually I track what happens in the game. No, but so I thought, from a defensive standpoint, Connor was pretty good. But I think back to what you were saying, this line, since it's been together, and Scheifele, Connor, and Velarde have been together this part of the season, but also you remember at the beginning of the season, but that was only 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
So we're not really that's too small of a sample size. Since this line has been together, I mean, the results have been mixed, right? Like you have to take the power play out of it for a second because games are not won on the power play. Obviously, it's nice that the power play is clicking right now, but at 5-on-5, this line is not working. I mean, the advanced stats and the eye test match up. If you're not able to dominate the worst team in the league, I mean, that's a problem.
I agree wholeheartedly. The Jets escape with the win, but there's not a lot to like except for that period to start the second period, that period of time, that first 10 to 12 minutes of the second period when the Jets were cycling the Blackhawks to death, and really the ice was as heavily tilted as we've seen in a long while. Aside from that, the Chicago Blackhawks were mano a mano against the Winnipeg Jets, and at times were in front of the Winnipeg Jets, and that's not something you want. Now, the Jets had plenty of opportunities in the course of the game that had they got that third goal prior to overtime, Sean Monahan, as you mentioned, he had a couple of opportunities, a couple in tight breakaways is how I would describe them. That if he'd been able to sneak one of those past Mrazek or Gabe Velarde on his breakaway opportunity when Scheifele hit him with that great pass. If they get that third goal earlier in the game, it's probably a different story. But Peter Mrazek, for whatever reason, was lights out against the Winnipeg Jets all season long. And he was again tonight. And kudos to him and credit to him and credit to the Blackhawks for really showing the fight when you're down 2-0 to scratch and claw your way back into this game.
Yeah, exactly. And Peter Mrazek is exactly the type of goalie that you want on a young Blackhawks team. Like just look at the Blackhawks lineup, right? Like you've got Nick Foligno playing on the top line with Connor Bedard and Kurashev, right? Like Nick Foligno would be a fourth line guy on the Jets. I honestly don't even know if he cracks the Jets top 12. I mean, he's had a great career, but he is not the same player that he was 6 or 7 years ago when he was on the Blue Jackets, right?
I thought he had a good game tonight as it happened.
No, he was fine. I mean, obviously, the
end result,
goal, the overtime goal, it's unfortunate for a guy like him, but I mean, there's a reason why the Blackhawks, I think it was 2-year deals that they gave Dickinson and Foligno, right? Like these are veteran guys. Foligno's obviously older than Dickinson, but these are older guys that, that you want to surround Connor Bedard with those types of players. Taylor Hall was a guy that they brought in for that reason. Obviously, Hall's missed the whole season. And Corey Perry was another guy, but we know what happened with that. So, I mean, like they're respectable. Everyone knows that the Hawks are a bad team, but these guys make them respectable because they compete night in, night out. But I think, the fact that the Jets had to, needed an extra 5 minutes to take care of the Blackhawks is not something that you like. And yes, I mean, you got to give the Hawks credit, and you still got the 2 points, but I still think that wasn't as convincing as you would like against a lowly Blackhawks team. But again, I'm not trying to be pessimistic here. I'm just pointing out, the good and the bad. The good was Nick Ehlers. Yeah. The good was Connor Hellebuck. I thought Dylan Sandberg had a really strong game. I thought Sean Monahan had another really strong game. I thought Gabe Velarde was good. We talked about Vlad Nemesnikov. Like there were a lot of good individual performances. And
there were some stinky ones.
Yeah, but then there were, like the Logan Stanley giveaway on the Hawks' first goal. I mean, you don't like that. That was the Colin Blackwell breakaway goal I'm talking about here. Neil Pionk, he took a bad penalty when Dickinson had the breakaway chance. I think it was Dickinson. We thought it might be a penalty shot, right? So, I mean, this was not a beautiful performance by the Jets. But again, over the course of an 82-game season, you can say, well, they're not all going to be beautiful. But I think for a Jets team that's still trying to get back to the way they were playing, in December, early January, that performance left a lot to be desired, I would say.
I don't disagree with anything you've said. There were a couple beautiful moments for the Winnipeg Jets in the course of the game. Let's get into the Betway game recap, and we'll talk about those beautiful moments right off the get-go.
The Betway game recap.
I want to extend my apologies in advance if you get annoyed with my coughing throughout the course of the broadcast. I'll do my best to... yes, I am. I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow. We'll see what the medical professionals say about me. They might just give up and walk out of the room. That would entirely be possible. But yes, like I think it seems like everybody else, I have a cold and a cough and everything else.
So fighting it too.
Yeah, we'll battle through it like we do. We play hurt here on the Illegal Curve post-game show.
A cold isn't going to prevent us from doing the Illegal Curve post-game show. No. We're going to need something more than that. COVID? Well, nah, that's not going to prevent us from doing the post-game show. We need something really bad, like salmonella or something like that.
I was going to say rickets. We have rickets. We're not.
No, I would still do the show with rickets.
You'd still do the show with rickets?
Because you could sit while you, right? Like you can still sit while you have rickets.
I don't know. People don't get rickets. It's 2024.
I'm pretty sure.
Rickets, let us know.
I'm pretty sure back in early 2019, I remember this exactly because that's when I moved into this house where I'm broadcasting tonight. I had hand, foot, and mouth disease. I think I still did the shows with hand, foot, and mouth disease.
Well, that's a rite of passage for any parent is to get hand, foot, and mouth disease from your kids when they come home with it from daycare. Then crawling with disease all day long. But yes, with hand, foot, and mouth disease, we're thrilled that you were still able to battle through it and join us here for the Illegal Curve post game show. We say good evening to everybody. It is now the bottom of the hour, 10:30 Central Time. It is Drew Mandel. It is Ezra Ginsburg. This is the Illegal Curve post-game show, talking about the Jets' 3-2 victory over the Chicago Blackhawks. If you haven't already done so, smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, because 9 a.m. tomorrow, it's the Illegal Curve hockey show.
And we're about to hit 6,000.
That's right. We're about to get 6,000 subscribers, and then Sunday evening, right about 7:45, after the Jets and the Arizona Coyotes, we'll do another edition of the Illegal Curve post-game show. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's a weekend chock full of Illegal Curve. Jets open the scoring at the 14:47 mark of the first period, after what I thought was a bit of a slow start for the Jets. I think at a point in time in that first period, they were being outshot 7-1 by the Blackhawks. But we talked about it in the preamble to this evening's post-game show. Nikolai Ehlers, who the bad Shaw says is terrible, was not terrible on this shot. You know what? I don't even know which one we're going to call the shot of the game. We might as well do it for this one, because you can pick or choose which of the two Ehlers goals you want to declare it. But this one is the Seagram shot of the game.
The Seagram shot of the game.
It's Ehlers hits his 17th of the season, his first in 10 games, if I'm not mistaken. Assist to Dylan DeMello and Josh Morrissey. And this is picking a corner and somehow, hitting a paper airplane through a mail slot in a door from the sidewalk. That's the best analogy I can come up with Nikolai Ehlers. Thank you. Feel free to steal it. Nikolai Ehlers.
I would never steal that.
Okay, well, you can steal it, but as long as you give me credit, you can use it and then just acknowledge that it came from me. But
I'm just picturing an airplane. Pardon me, a paper airplane going like an actual airplane. Yeah, a 747 going through a mail slot.
Yeah, no, but this is just a remarkable shot and a remarkable goal for Nikolai Ehlers. And he felt good about it. You saw the reaction he had after scoring this one, because the goal-scoring drought had been weighing on him, Mr. Ginsburg.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we talked about it, during the first 5 minutes. Both of these goals are really, the result of just Ehlers' speed and skill. And, you know, I'm not sure about you, Drew, or, you know, people watching or listening on the pod, but I mean, I thought that hit crossbar originally, like it happened so quickly. But then, you know, almost half of a second or a second later, you see Ehlers celebrating, and then you obviously knew the referee signaled it was a goal, right? So just incredible, because where he shoots that, it was Seth Jones that was defending him. So he's coming down, like, based on how we're watching it, he's coming down on the far side, the left side. And Seth Jones, it's not like the positioning of Jones is bad or anything like that. When Ehlers releases the puck, it's at the bottom of the circle, and he manages to get it over Peter Mrazek's shoulder. Like you said, I mean, there just isn't a lot of room. And the way Mrazek, like, it's not even that Mrazek didn't expect it. He just didn't think it was possible for Ehlers to put the puck where he put it over his shoulder and under the bar. So just an incredible shot. I don't think there has ever been, Drew, a more obvious Seagram shot of the game. Just incredible. And the thing, we've seen Ehlers do that. Also, you know, it's pretty phenomenal. They mentioned this on the broadcast. I forget if it was Dan Robertson or if it was Kevin Sawyer. They definitely had the graphic up, but the fact that all of Ehlers' 18 goals are at even strength is pretty ridiculous for a guy that obviously gets his power play time, whether it's on the first power play unit or the second power play unit. But
minimal power play time when he's on the second power play unit.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that because we've talked about that ad nauseum, that he should be on the first power play unit basically indefinitely, right?
Yeah.
So just an incredible, I mean, that's a shot that we're going to be talking about. It's just not a shot that a lot of players in the NHL can do. Like Connor Bedard, he could, you know, put that puck there. Austin Matthews, David Pasternak, Kyle Connor, maybe, but like there's only a handful, maybe 10 guys in the league that can do that at top speed. So just incredible. I mean, you know, like I said, I thought it was off the crossbar. I just didn't think there was any room there. I don't think Peter Mrazek thought that there was any room there, but obviously that was a huge momentum boost because, as you said, I mean, the Jets, it's not exactly like the Jets came out, you know, lights on fire. They were actually getting outplayed by the Hawks a little bit in the first period in that goal. I mean, they obviously, you know, rode the wave after that because they were the better team through much of the rest of the first and the second.
Yeah, but for the first part of that first period to start the game, the Hawks were definitely the better of the two teams. They outchanced the Jets at 5-on-5 in high danger chances 4-1. You know, they had the better expected goals numbers in that first period. So this goal by Nikolai Ehlers really turned the tide that had been in Chicago's favor for a whole lot of that. For a whole lot of that first period. I want to announce, Ezzy, I've just been reliably informed, we have reached the 6,000 subscriber mark on the YouTube channel. Thank you to all of you for your loyal support of Illegal Curve Hockey. It is yet another milestone that we are happy to accomplish, and thank you for your contributions to it, and thank you everyone. So now your job, for everybody that's watching, all 350 plus of you that are with us here on this Friday night, is to go tell somebody else who isn't currently a regular viewer that they need to become one, and they need to subscribe so we can continue to grow the Illegal Curve family.
I'll be honest with you. I thought you were going to play a 6,000 subscribers bumper there. Like, I wasn't sure I thought there was going to be confetti, maybe some music. I wasn't sure there, but yeah, no, hitting 6,000 is nice. And we're well on our way to 6,001.
And our goal is to get to so many subscribers that we actually have more subscribers than the Jets do have season ticket holders.
Yeah. It's drive to 13,500 subscribers. That's where we're at.
That's exactly it. We want more subscribers to the Illegal Curve channel than the Jets have season ticket holders. We will talk about that. Don't worry, we're not going to avoid that topic because the Jets keep shooting themselves double-barreled in the foot with the organization. We'll talk about that a lot probably on tomorrow's Illegal Curve Hockey show at 9 a.m. So we will certainly not be avoiding that topic. Don't worry, folks. 1-0 for the Jets after 20 minutes. Slow start, got better, and then one of the highlight reels goals of this season, as far as I'm concerned, is the Jets' 2-0 goal. It very easily could have been the Seagram shot of the game as well. Nikolai Ehlers, it's a delayed penalty coming on this play, and Ehlers goes end to end, including a pass to himself and comes down the right side, cuts into the middle, and then just unleashes a howitzer from the mid slot and beats Mrazek. Assist to Josh Morrissey on this one. But Ehlers gets both a clean zone exit and a clean zone entry and a goal on this play. A remarkable individual effort by the Jets number 27 for his 18th even strength goal. I guess it still count as an even strength goal. I guess it does. 6-on-5 with Hellebuyck out of the net, but just a remarkable goal for Nikolai Ehlers on this one, Ezzy.
Yeah, and it's not only, one of the nicest goals of the season for the Jets or one of Ehlers' nicest goals. Like, this to me is in the category of one of the nicest goals of the year, period.
Yeah.
It really is, right? Like, you just mentioned it. Like, I know that you can't give a player a primary assist on their goal, but if there was ever a time to give a player a primary assist on their goal, like, I remember thinking, like, as this was happening, I'm like, okay, Ehlers really wants to, give himself an extra boost by going behind the net.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes end to end. And Mike Kelly, who we've had on the show before, great hockey analyst, he mentioned that was Ehlers' third coast-to-coast goal of the year, which is the most in the NHL, because as you know, Drew, and as a lot of people who watch hockey know, that just doesn't happen a lot. It's just tough to go through 3 or 4 players.
Yeah.
And, it's Connor Bedard that he blazes by first, and then Nick Foligno we talked about because Foligno was on Bedard's line, and it was the second pair of Kevin Kurchinski and Jacob Megna. Like, Ehlers goes through the entire team here. Like, I don't know if any words that I can put together can accurately describe how ridiculous this goal was. Like, it's Ehlers going through the entire team with speed, cutting to the middle, and obviously, outdoing himself because he scored a beautiful first goal on Mrazek. So this is just an incredible individual effort on a delayed penalty. It was tripping. I remember. I forget who it was. Was it Morrissey who was tripped? I can't remember, but it was a delayed tripping penalty, I believe.
Yeah, it was the penalty was coming. It was a delayed tripping penalty. I agree. I believe you were correct about that.
I'm blanking here, Drew. I don't remember, but yeah, just again, incredible speed, goes by Bedard. Foligno kind of just does a little bit of a drive by, fly by, and just incredible for Ehlers to find a spot low on Peter Mrazek. Just incredible. And again, I mean, if you take away Ehlers' performance, it wasn't exactly a performance by the Jets to write home about. So, I mean, that's a huge goal, right? It happens very early. What was it, a minute and a half into the second period? And, the way that Chicago, I think, only averages just over 2 goals a game, right? So you got the feeling at that point that the game could get a little out of hand, and the Jets did keep the foot on the gas, and they played well in the second period. But obviously, Chicago ended up making it a 1-goal game and tying it up. But just incredible. One of the nicest goals, I would say, of the year, period.
It was remarkable. When you're watching the broadcast, like we were, I watch it, and you can hear his skates, clacking on the ice, for lack of better description. When you can hear his blades, chipping up the ice, you just know how fast he's going, because you don't typically hear that, in the course of the regular broadcast. You normally hear a player actually get up to full speed, in flight, in control of the puck, and it was really a remarkable thing to watch and a thing of beauty. And I mean, I haven't seen it. Obviously, I've been a bit busy right now, but I think it's safe to assume that one of those bomber jackets that the Jets give out, at post game, that Nikolai Ehlers probably should get one of those. And that was, as we talked about, the first 10 minutes, the first 9-10 minutes of the second period was the best stretch of hockey that the Winnipeg Jets played in this game. Shortly after that beautiful goal by Ehlers, there's a extended line from extended shift in the Blackhawks zone by Nemesnikov, Barron, and Perfetti. I like that line together tonight, as we talked about in the preamble. They were cycling the Blackhawks to death. And it's almost, Taylor Radish at the 10-15 mark of the period. This is where he hits, pardon me, with 10-15 to go in the period. 9:45 has elapsed in the period. That's when he hits Connor Hellebuyck and he takes that penalty. And Hellebuyck, was down on the ice and was shaken up. And for the Winnipeg
I really don't
Jets,
think that was intentional by Radish. If you look at the replay, he's not even looking at Hellebuck. He still has to be in control, so he
Right.
deserved a penalty. And I'm not saying that a lot of people are saying that Radish should be suspended, but I'm just saying the result was bad. But I really don't think the intent was there. And obviously Hellebuck was fine, but for a few moments there, you're thinking, could there be a concussion or something there?
That's the thought. Well, that's certainly the thought that came to my mind, and I wouldn't be surprised if Hellebuck doesn't play on Sunday regardless. It seems like that probably would have been a good chance to put Laurent Brossoit, give him a game Sunday against the Coyotes. But certainly it came to my mind when he's flat out on the ice. Is this a
Exactly.
concussion issue?
You don't see a big guy like Hellebuck, like you just don't see him down like that.
Right.
And you could see that when the Jets trainer came out, you could see that he was shaken up, right? Like it was obvious to everybody. And that's why your mind goes to, could there be a possible concussion, even if it's a mild concussion, just because it was a shoulder to the head.
Yeah, it was something that was definitely, had Jets fans and their hearts were in their throats, a lump in their throat. And I'm surprised, though. I must say, though, Ezzy, I'm surprised that Taylor Radish didn't have to fight anybody, after the penalty expired. I thought somebody would demand that he sort of has a little more accountability.
Sure.
So I was expecting either a Lowry or a Dillon would, at the very least, get in his face for a little bit, and if not a full-on dropping of the gloves, just certainly a face wash-esque reminder that you don't patrol that close to our goalie and hit him without any ramifications as a result.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think Brendan Dillon was more concerned about his fight with Connor Bedard. Obviously, I'm joking. But yeah,
I'm not sure Bedard versus Dillon would have been a really fair fight.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Dillon was just kind of, letting the kid know that he was in, a man's league, right?
That's
but yeah,
right.
you're right. I thought maybe there was some retribution, even if it wasn't a fight. Maybe, just somebody goes up to him after the whistle, or there was a little bit of pushing and shoving. I didn't see anything.
Yeah.
It's possible that, he got bumped or something like that at some point, in the second or third period. But again, I mean, Hellebuck turns out he was okay. And, Radish served his penalty. But I really don't think there was any intent there. And we talked about it. Radish was a factor tonight. He was good. He's a decent player. He was in the Brandon Hagel trade, I believe, right?
Yeah.
I think they mentioned that on the broadcast. So he's a good player. I don't think, he's a, top 6 forward on a lot of teams, but on a team like Chicago, it's good. He gets to play in a bunch of different situations, and he's a good young player.
Yeah, a lot of speed. He's certainly got a bright future. No question about that. So he's in the box, and the Jets power play really doesn't do a lot on this one. In fact, Neil Pionk has to take a slashing penalty on a Jason Dickinson shorthanded breakaway. And that ends the Jets penalty, and some 4-on-4 hockey. And I thought really after this happened, after the Pionk penalty, that's sort of when the Jets lost a little bit of their momentum in the second period. And they weren't as good in the latter half of the second as they were in the first, 9-10 minutes. And then Jason and Colin Blackwell gets the Blackhawks on the board at the 15:58 mark. So with 4:02 to go in the second period, it's Blackwell, his 5th of the year. It's a breakaway assist to Seth Jones. This is not a smart play by Logan Stanley. He just needs to be better than this play at this stage of his career. Yes, you're in the offensive zone. Yes, you are trying to do something, but anytime you blindly put the puck into the middle of the ice, even if you're 180 feet away from your goaltender, it can quickly be turned back up the ice and result in a opportunity for the opponent. And that's exactly what happened here. Stanley, a blind pass at the offensive blue line into the middle of the ice. Seth Jones says, "Thank you very much." Blackwell is behind the defense. Jones to Blackwell to the back of the net, 2-1 at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, the word that you use that stands out to anybody that was watching, it's a nice pass by Seth Jones up to Colin Blackwell, and good on him. He puts a nice move, does a little shimmy, and then puts a nice little deke on Hellebuck. But I mean, it's a blind pass, and also too, like, what was the intent here? Even if you did get it to, I think it was Velarde who was the intended target here. I just don't like. I don't think this would have really resulted in much more than, maybe just getting the puck into the corner or something. And again, for a guy who's now in the lineup for a player who is now a healthy scratch, Nate Schmidt is not injured.
Nope.
Let's be clear here. He's being healthy scratched. Yep. And we've been talking about this all year. For all the criticism that Schmidt has got early in the season, Sandberg and Schmidt have been one of the best third pairs in the league.
Yeah.
Right. So I would be shocked, to be honest with you, if Stanley remains in the lineup. I don't think it's just going to be that one turnover. I just don't think he played well enough to remain in the lineup for Nate Schmidt. We'll see what happens, and we can talk about it on tomorrow morning's show. Yeah. But you're absolutely right. I mean, again, if you don't have a play there, and it's easy for us to, single Stanley out here because it results in a goal, but it's an egregious turnover. Yeah. And again, Seth Jones makes a nice pass, and Colin Blackwell identifies that, he has the opportunity to be strung on a power play, a penalty shot here. Mm-hmm. But, it's all because of a Stanley turnover. I mean, this goal is a direct result of Stanley turning over the puck right in the middle of the ice. He put this right in the middle of the ice, and there was nobody really there. Seth Jones just took it and sprung Blackwell on a breakaway, and now all of a sudden it's a 1-goal game.
That's just it. And if you put that puck down low in the corner, or you just almost rag the puck a little bit, just press it against the boards.
That's what I was going to say, Drew. You just even if you're not going to fire it, because that's what he did. He just blindly turned around and fired it, and hoped that maybe the Jets player would get a stick on it. I thought it was Velarde. It was the Jets top line that was out there. I know that because Scheifele was the one who got the puck back to Stanley at the point. If anything, just hold on to it, take it back out of the zone, or move it, kind of freeze it on the boards. Just hold on to it, and just don't. And again, it's one thing if a rookie defenseman like Kevin Korchinski is making that play. Logan Stanley's 25 years old. He has a lot of pro experience at this point. And again, I hate to pick on him. I know there's a lot of people, that would like to see him out of the lineup. And I think you're going to get your wish, by the way, because I think Nate Schmidt is going to come back into the lineup based on Stanley's performance tonight.
Yeah, and just you need to have better awareness, better situational awareness at this point of your career than what he demonstrated on this goal. 2-1 at that point in time. Ehlers was set up Sean Monahan late in the second period for a good opportunity. This is the one where sort of Monahan hit the outside of the post because Mrazek really cut off the low part of the post with a good net, with a good push right against the post. 2-1 after 40 minutes at this point. Third period starts. Sean Monahan, another opportunity in tight. But he slides this one sort of just past the post. And you're wondering, are the Jets going to rue all of these missed opportunities? Well, are the Blackhawks going to rue their missed opportunity? Because we really can't. I still don't know how Jason Dickinson missed that wide open net. And Jason
Dickinson must have got a piece of it, no?
It's unclear to me. How many times did you watch the replay to try and figure it out?
They showed the replay at least 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And it was tough to see. It was funny. Dan Robertson and Kevin Sawyer were joking that neither of them could see it go off the iron. So I don't know. I like, based on what I saw, I mean, either Dickinson missed the net completely or Hellebuyck got a piece of it.
It seemed to be one or the other, and it was hard to sort of identify exactly how it stayed out. But it did stay out. Then that's very important for the Winnipeg Jets, because Chicago very easily could have tied this game within the first 4 or 5 minutes of the third period. And then who knows what happens at that point in time. Nick Foligno also had a good couple of opportunities, early in that third period. Chances at both ends of the ice during that 4-on-4 situation when Connor Bedard and Brendan Dillon were in the penalty box. I thought Bedard his best period was the third period, because I thought he was pretty invisible for the first 40 minutes of the game. I did not think he was at his best, early in this game, but I thought he got better as the game went on.
I would agree with that. And I think he's been back. Is this his 5th game since he's been back from the injury? I think he had something like 6 points in his first 4 games. So, I mean, he has been producing, but I would agree with that. Look, I mean, the game, I was in Mexico, but I know you guys did the post-game show. That was the Connor Bedard show when he scored the overtime winner and everything like that. He was definitely not, I can't remember a good scoring chance that he had in the first couple periods.
Me neither.
And he certainly wasn't, dominant or anything like that, but you could just see the skill, even kind of simple things that he does, like little stick handling plays in tight, and just the way he kind of just is able to enter the zone with ease, really. But you're right. I mean, this was not the most dominant performance, but it also was, I mean, we had the comment up earlier. I mean, this was a grinder game, right? Like this was, fairly tight checking back and forth. He didn't have a lot of speed, a lot of opportunities to use his speed and skill, right? But I would agree with that. And then obviously, in the third period when they were pressing, Bedard was out there, and he was at the point, and I think he was out there for the last 2 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. Also, Ehlers was out there for the last 2 minutes, which I didn't love.
Well, so that's
I realize he's going for the hat trick, but I mean, come on.
Well, I don't think that's why. I think they were rewarding him because he was Jets' best player. And so you talk about Nikolai Ehlers, and the Blackhawks have pulled the goalie, and we're into the final seconds. We're less than a minute to go, and that's when they tie the game. Ehlers dives to try and get the puck out of the zone. He's unable to do so, and the puck goes down low to Jason Dickinson, and then Dickinson to Nick Foligno. Foligno with a great backdoor pass to Tyler Johnson, and Tyler Johnson, with 43 seconds to go in the game, ties it up. He's able to get the puck past Connor Hellebuck. I think Alex Iafallo was, maybe a quarter of a step behind in trying to get back into the play in this situation. And the Blackhawks, full marks to them. They played hard the entire game. They didn't give up that all-important third goal in regulation, and the Blackhawks tie it up with 43 seconds to go, and we're off to overtime, Eze.
Yeah, you made the comment, the drive from Jason Dickinson and the spin pass. Connor Hellebuck had absolutely no chance. And they did a good job. Like, look, give the Hawks credit. Like, they're not playing for anything aside from being a spoiler. Let's get that clear here. Like, they are going to be in the Macklin Celebrini sweepstakes here, whether they finish 30th, 31st, or 32nd, right? So
that's right.
Give the Hawks credit here for fighting till the very end and tying the game up with 40 seconds or 42 seconds, whatever it was. I thought Seth Jones had a really strong game. Like, I realize, his contract is considered one of the worst.
Yeah.
But again, what's he going to do? I mean, he's going to cash his paychecks, right? So, I mean, there's nothing he can do about that contract. He's still playing well. I mean, he's obviously not maybe the top 10 defenseman that he was projected to be when he was drafted, top 5 back in the day. I think that was 2013, 2014, if I'm not mistaken. So I thought he was good. We talked about Nick Foligno. He was out there. Connor Bedard, they have found a little bit of an identity here. And obviously, they have other players like Frank Nazar coming in and stuff like that. And they're not going to be a very good team, I would imagine, for at least 2 or 3 years. But they put up a good fight, and you got the feeling that, they were going to tie it up. Obviously, we didn't know they were going to tie it up. But they were playing hard,
sort of
and
felt
they were
that
playing
same way as well.
Yeah, like they had all of the momentum, they had all of the chances, all of the zone time. The Jets were on their heels. So
once the Jets weren't able to clear at the blue line there, you sort of that's kind of play. You watch enough hockey, you're just so close to clearing the puck and likely
Ehlers
winning the game,
right? Like they were all out there for a while there. Ehlers, like we mentioned, he was out there for at a good minute and a half. And I realized he was the best Jets forward, or one of the Jets' best forwards, and he's going for the hat trick. But at the end of the day, you're trying to protect the lead. And, again, we might be nitpicking here, and I realize we'll get it in the chat here that people are going to say, this is Chicago and blah, 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 blah. But, I think, who you put out there does matter in that type of situation. So,
I don't mind rewarding guys who've played well and who are the Jets' best players during this game. In that situation, because the best players tonight, there's no question, were Monahan and Ehlers and Iafallo. That was the Jets' best line. Yep. So I don't mind having them out on the ice and rewarding them for successful play. It didn't work out, but we're talking. I mean, I know it's a cliche, but it truly is a game of inches, maybe even less than inches. Maybe it's a game of centimeters or something along those lines. And the Jets were that close to probably winning it in regulation as opposed to overtime. But the Blackhawks tie it up. Tyler Johnson, as we mentioned, ties it up, goes into overtime. Blackhawks win the faceoff in overtime, and they gain the zone, as you often do when you win possession. and Josh Morrissey makes a nice play to strip the puck away from Nick Foligno, and he headmans it to Kyle Connor, and it didn't strike me as a particularly dangerous overtime rush, but the Jets get a fortuitous bounce, and it's sort of been a while since the Jets have really gotten a bounce so evident that is so beneficial, and they get this one. It's Kyle Connor's shot, and it deflects right off of Nick Foligno, who's coming back in the play after getting stripped of the puck in the offensive zone, and it goes right through Peter Mrazek. No chance. You can see the redirection. It took a couple of replays to see exactly how it went in, but goes right off of Foligno through Mrazek, and the Jets will escape from Chicago with that 3-2 victory. Not quite escape from LA, the classic, I think it was that 70s or 80s movie, but it was a 3-2 Jets victory over Chicago in the Windy City, Ezzy.
Who was in that movie? I'm trying to picture the guy. He had long hair.
It wasn't Daniels? Dolph Lundgren, was it?
Dolph Lundgren, maybe.
Hang on. Now we're down the rabbit hole.
We're definitely down the rabbit hole. That threw me off, Drew. But yeah, let's talk about the Kyle Connor goal.
Kurt Russell, Steve Buscemi.
Kurt Russell, Steve Buscemi.
Yeah,
I don't even think I've
Steve
seen
Buscemi
that movie
was
now
in
that
that
I think
either.
about it. I think I've only seen like parts of that movie.
Okay, well, when we're done the post game show, you can feel free to go watch it.
Yeah, I think I might. We talked about Connor Bedard earlier, and he's out there for the overtime. And it's Nick Foligno, and Nick Foligno looks a little bit dangerous. Josh Morrissey makes a nice play, and he gets it to Kyle Connor. And like you said, I mean, it doesn't look that dangerous because Kyle Connor's not at top speed, but he kind of hangs back.
Yeah.
And then he drives to the net a little bit, and then we talked about it. It's a soft shot, but he was clearly he found a spot. But I don't know if it was confirmed. I haven't looked close enough, but I'm pretty sure it did go off of Foligno's skate. Right?
It did. There's no question.
Yeah.
You saw the final replay before they cut to Sports Center.
Yeah, so that's a lucky bounce, like you said. So sometimes those bounces go your way, and sometimes they don't go your way. We talked about it, the Nemesnikov off the iron in the first period, right? Yeah. So I mean, it happens to all teams, and a little bit of an anticlimactic end because you thought maybe this was going to be one of those epic, overtimes, and maybe Chicago was going to play the role of real spoiler as opposed to just stealing 1 point.
Yeah, well, a meaningless point in this case, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Meaningless for them. But I think, Josh Morrissey deserves credit for breaking up, Foligno's rush in his own end as well, as Connor obviously getting the winning goal.
And with the victory, the 3-2 victory, the Jets actually move atop the Western Conference yet again in points percentage. So they're not there in points, but when you compare that the Jets have played 4 less games than the Vancouver Canucks and 3 less games than both the Dallas Stars and the Colorado Avalanche, with 75 points in 55 games, the Jets have a points percentage of .682, which puts them atop the Western Conference and 4th overall in the NHL, the top 3 teams, of course, in the Eastern Conference. So the Winnipeg Jets will take the 3-2 victory. They will head home to face the Arizona Coyotes on a Sunday, depending on your opinion, late afternoon, early evening, 5 o'clock Central Time is puck drop on Sunday. Late afternoon?
5 o'clock is afternoon.
Really? Not early evening?
No.
Okay, we've had this debate many times before. We probably won't need to have it again. That is your Betway game recap for this Friday night Jets victory over the Chicago Blackhawks. Before we go to break, we want to remind you of this event coming right up. This is this coming Thursday, a leap day party so big it only happens every 4 years. We're live, Boston Pizza, Taylor Avenue, 7 p.m. Thursday night. Come watch the Jets and the Dallas Stars. It's a Central Division matchup between these two top teams. The Stars have had the Jets number so far this year. Can the Jets bounce back? Come join us Thursday night at Boston Pizza for the Winnipeg Jets Dallas Stars game, followed by a live on location edition of the Illegal Curve post game show. February 29th happens only every 4 years. I know you don't have anything on your calendars because how would you know? It only happens once every 4 years. Be sure to join us Thursday night, 7 p.m., Boston Pizza, Taylor Avenue, for the Jets and the Dallas Stars. We look forward to seeing everybody there on Thursday night. Going to be a great one. And then, of course, the live edition of the Illegal Curve post-game show. This has been the Betway game recap. Big thanks to our friends at Betway for their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game show with a large selection of betting options and sports, as well as strong promotions and fair odds. What are you waiting for? Head on over to Betway and bet your way. Must be 19 years or older to play. Please play responsibly. When we come back, much more on the Jets and the Chicago Blackhawks, the victory, and we will have the Tough Duck hardest hitting comment and whatever other nonsense Ezzy and I decide to come up with. Don't go anywhere. It's a Friday night. It is the Illegal Curve post-game show. We're live on YouTube and all of our social media platforms.
Boston Pizza harnessed Betalytics to test if the game is better at home or at Boston Pizza. The results are irrefutable. Catch the game at Boston Pizza, powered by Fetalytics.
You guys ever wish for a game changer in life?
Like finding out your favorite snack has 0 calories?
Or discovering the mute button on Ezzy?
Picture this, a secret weapon for parking, where you can book a spot a whole month in advance.
Tell me more, Drew.
Pre-book your parking at really low rates, or maybe even for free if you use the code Illegal Curve.
Free? What is this, sorcery?
The Grid Park app. It's a real secret weapon that has affordable game day parking, and to sweeten the deal even more,
I love sweets.
our listeners can use the code Illegal Curve to park for free.
Holy Zamboni!
Tell me about it. Just download Grid Park, GRYD Park, and use the code Illegal Curve, all one word, to park for free.
The game can change just like that. Accidents happen when you aren't protected. So now what? Getting to your injury quickly can make all the difference. Help prevent them from being game changers with Linden Market Dental Center. Bonding, crowns, bridges, and dental implants. State-of-the-art treatments are available to help you get back in the game. To learn more, visit LindenMarketDentalCenter.com. Creating smiles for life.
Your coworkers love you because you always make them laugh. You're the life of the party with stories that have them rolling on the floor. Or maybe you're just the quiet one in the corner with the one-liners that just slay. Do you have what it takes to become Winnipeg's funniest person with a day job? Try your luck. Hit the stage at Rumors Comedy Club, and you could be walking away with $1,000 cash. Winnipeg's funniest person with a day job. Presented by Rumors. For all the details, head to rumorscomedyclub.com.
Whoa, Ezzy, everything okay? You look stressed.
Of course I'm stressed. We're moving, the house is upside down, the kids failed miserably at packing the fine china, and my life is in chaos. Chaos!
Yes, that does sound like a problem.
What am I going to do?
Ezzy, relax. Rolly's Transfer Moving and Storage is the answer. With 60 years of experience in moving Manitobans and a track record of exemplary customer service, one call to Rolly's and your stress is gone. No job is too big or too small. Just visit Rollies.com and they will take it from there.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you, Rollies Transfer Moving and Storage, online at Rollies.com.
For 3 generations and over 80 years, Tough Duck has been making apparel that works and plays as hard as the people who wear it. From jackets to work boots and everything in between, Tough Duck's clothing can handle the harshest environments, even the Illegal Curve hockey show. Work to live, live to play. Visit toughduck.com. We are back on the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Ezra Ginsburg with you. Reminder, coming up 9 a.m., which is about 10 hours from now, the Illegal Curve hockey show. Right back at it on the Saturday morning. We look forward to joining everybody at 9 a.m. tomorrow to talk much about the Winnipeg Jets. The new forward lines. Chipman's interview with The Athletic will be dealt with. Kenny Weeb is going to stop by, so you know we're taking a trip to the buffet, and then we're going back for seconds and thirds with our good buddy Kenny Weeb. And then, of course, Marty B. Ron is also going to join us. And anytime we can get together with Marty is certainly a good time for us to do so. So we are looking forward to that tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., the Illegal Curve Hockey Show back here on our YouTube channel. Wanted to make mention that Illegal Curve is proud to be, again, a media sponsor for the 50th annual Ken Cronson Rady JCC Sports Dinner coming up May 28th, 2024. That's in about, what's this, February? So February to March, March to April, April to May. That's 3 months and 5 days from now. Simple math is my strong suit. So this is one of the preeminent dinners on the calendar. If you are a sports fan, this is the dinner you need to be at. Grant Fuhr, Doug Gilmour, Wendell Clark are going to be regaling the audience with anecdotes and stories from their days in the NHL. And if memorabilia is your thing, they have the best selection of memorabilia, NHL, NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, whatever you desire. It's going to be on sale. It's going to be up for auction. So join Illegal Curve May 28th, 2024 at the Rady JCC Sports Dinner. What jersey did you buy last year again, Ezzy? I forget. What jersey was it?
Well, it's apropos because the Jets are playing the Coyotes on Sunday. It was a Nick Schmaltz jersey, signed Nick Schmaltz jersey. Let's make that clear.
Yes.
So I've still got it. It's still got the tag. It's just hanging up upstairs. But yes, that was my big purchase. I think I got it for $200, $250, something like that. But you're absolutely right. I mean, I've been lucky enough. You've taken me a couple times as a guest of Rumors. Sheldon put an end to that. But you remember do you remember who we saw? We saw Mark Messier one year. Yeah. He was fantastic. And Magic one year. I mean, if you think about the, you know, who they've got over the years, right? Like
it's the best dinner.
It's the who's who, right? Like Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Dan Marino. The first one I went to was when I was 17, and it was the Hurricane, Ruben the Hurricane Carter. And I did not name my son after Ruben the Hurricane Carter. We just like the name Ruben. It's a solid name. But you know, if you're, you know, our age or even, you know, 10 years younger, when you think of that era of the Leafs, that's who you think of, right? You think of Wendell Clark, you think of Doug Gilmour, and obviously Grant Fuhr, is better known for being a member of the Edmonton Oilers, but he also played for the Leafs.
He did. That's exactly right. So it's going to be a great night, May 28th. We will be there, of course. So if you're looking to get tickets, radyjcc.com, or you can slide into my DMs or Ezzy's DMs, and we'll get you all the information about how to get tickets for the 50th annual Rady JCC Ken Cronson Sports Dinner. Great night on the sporting calendar in this fair province of ours. Let's do this. Even though Manouk's not here, we can still do this.
Put on your antlers. It's time for the Manouk Moose Minute on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show.
The Moose lost 5-2 to the Calgary Wranglers. This has been your Manouk Moose Minute. I know I didn't see anything of the Moose game, folks.
There's only one rule for the Manouk Moose Minute. Dave M has to be here for the Manouk Moose Minute. Unless you make a Mindell Moose Minute bumper and you get Moose play-by-play broadcaster Dan Fink to make a little separate intro for you. But yes, unfortunately, the Moose lost 5-2 to the Wranglers. That's, I believe, their third loss in a row. But they're going to get another crack at the Wranglers tomorrow. So hopefully they'll be able to get back in the win column.
I think it's tomorrow afternoon, if I'm not mistaken. So their Moose are going to look to get off the schneid against the Calgary Wranglers. The Wranglers jerseys, by the way, were just some of the ugliest jerseys I've seen in a long, long time. It's totally an aside, but they just look very almost slapped together haphazardly. It's just like, you know, it's got the Flames colors and then it's just got a big W in front. It's just nothing about it was aesthetically pleasing. And as everybody knows, I am a fashion maven.
Yeah, exactly. I don't really like the Wrangler jerseys, but I do like Wrangler jeans, especially acid wash.
Good to know. You got a Tough Duck Hardest Hitting comment?
For sure.
Okay, let's do it.
The Tough Duck Hardest Hitting comment.
All right, everybody. Great comments tonight. We always appreciate you joining us in the chat. Ran into a few people actually recently that tell me they watch the post-game show, but they don't participate in the chat, or sometimes they participate in a chat. Shout out to Derek, who I ran into last weekend, and he mentioned, sometimes I show up. You might see Derek there, but sometimes I don't. And you know what I said? That's fine. As long as you watch, you don't have to participate in the chat. And also, if you're thinking about participating in the chat and you haven't before, don't be intimidated. There's lots of good people. Every once in a while, we get a bad egg and Drew has to put them in timeout. But I would say 99.9% of the people in the chat are good people. So we're going to give it tonight to Palmer Lane 89. I'm not sure if it's pronounced Palmer Lane or Palmer Lane 89, but we're going to give it to them. Once again, reading the comment here, the Jets get caught in a trap game against the Hawks, and we're lucky to get out of it with a win. Ehlers looked good, but Monahan had several chances to bury his chances in close. Palmer Lane 89 is right about that.
Yeah, Sean Monahan had plenty of chances today.
He was good on the penalty kill. The power play didn't score a goal, but I thought, the first power play opportunity for the Jets was pretty solid, dangerous. Not so much the second power play opportunity, but I like Monahan's game, and clearly, he has fit in nicely on that Jets second line. We expect Cole Perfetti to be back on that second line at some point. Maybe it's Sunday versus the Coyotes. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't expect it on Sunday, but we'll talk about it tomorrow morning. That's for sure. 9
I think you expect Nate Schmidt to be back in, though.
Based on that free pizza, again, if there's accountability for the way you play, that was just a blatant giveaway, and
right.
So yes,
I think the way he played in general. I mean, some people liked his game more. Palmer Lane 89. Before I forget to tell Palmer Lane 89, send me an email, Ezra@illegalcurve.com, with your mailing info, or you can slide into my DMs on X/Twitter @ICSEG. And Tough Duck will ship out a toque to you directly. We sent out some more toques this week. And we're going to keep sending Tough Duck toques out to the playoffs. Then we switch it up. Last year we did trucker hats, but we're going to keep sending the toques out until the playoffs. And then we're going to either switch to the trucker hats or something else. But you can never go wrong with trucker hats, right? You and Ashton Kutcher, Drew, you still rock them.
Oh, I still think that. What was this show called? It wasn't called Pranked. It was called Punked. Yes, exactly. I'm still filming episodes of Punked all by myself here.
Did you know that he's actually married to Mila Kunis? Like, I just found that out like a year ago.
Well, I did know that.
Like, I knew they were like a TV couple, but I had no idea. I thought Ashton Kutcher was still with Demi Moore.
Was he? Oh, that's right. He was with Demi Moore. That was a weird couple.
Very weird.
Like a huge age gap there.
Yeah.
That was. I forgot about that.
I'm not
going
to say it, Drew, but yeah, I think you know what she is.
Already on that note,
a great actress. She was phenomenal in Ghost.
On that note, I'm going to go back to drinking my absinthe here as I try and stay healthy enough for
tomorrow. What is that swamp water you're drinking?
I found a Gatorade or a Powerade, a melon pineapple Powerade in the back of the second fridge, and I don't know how long it's been there, but I figured, whatever's not going to kill me is only going to make me stronger at this point in time. So we'll keep drinking that, and we will see everybody tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. Again, Kenny Weeb's going to join us. Marty Biron's going to join us. Want to say a big thank you to, first of all of you for joining us, and a big thank you to all of our sponsors who make the Saturday show, the post-game show, the website a possibility. That's our friends at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club. They're all sold out. They've been all sold out all week long. Make sure you get your tickets for Kelly Taylor coming up next week, and Ryan Sickler concert series event. Yeah, good Saskatchewan boy Kelly Taylor is. You're right about that. Our friends at Grid Park, use code ILLEGALCURVE to park for free. Linden Market Dental Center, Zappia Group Realty, Betway, Tough Duck, Boston Pizza, Seagram's, Rolly's Transfer, and Farmery Beer. Support these fine businesses because of their continued support of Illegal Curve Hockey. Jets win 3-2 in overtime in Chicago. We say hi to Stacy S.'s dog, Abby, out there in Erie, Pennsylvania. That's where Stacy joins us from each and every post-game show, and again on Saturday morning. If you haven't already done so, smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you missed any of the show, the podcast will be up at some point in time. Dave M will get on that. Dave M away, but I'm sure he'll do the podcast for us nonetheless. And the instant replay is on the YouTube channel. We will be back 9 a.m. tomorrow. That is in, that is in 9 hours and 42 minutes. So I'm going to go to bed. Ezzy's going to go to bed. Y'all can go to bed as well, but we'll see you back here bright and early, 9 a.m. Until then, we say good night and good luck, and thanks for joining us. This has been the Illegal Curve post-game show.
Thanks for listening to this broadcast from Illegal Curve Hockey. For more great Illegal Curve content, subscribe to the Illegal Curve YouTube channel, follow at Illegal Curve on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and visit your online home for hockey in Winnipeg, illegalcurve.com.